You've been lied to about success. The world tells you it's about luck, connections, or talent. But what if the real secret was something much simpler? What if the only thing standing between you and your dreams, you? Life gets hard. That's not the problem. The problem is how we respond when it does. Most people crumble under pressure, quit when things get tough, or waste years waiting for the right moment. But there's another way, a way to turn obstacles into fuel, setbacks into comebacks, and fear into action. And it starts with understanding one thing. Your mind is the only real limit you have. The secret no one tells you about failure. Failure has been misunderstood completely. People run from it, hide from it, pretend it doesn't exist, as if failure is some kind of disease that only happens to the weak, the unprepared, the unlucky. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. In fact, it's one of the most important parts. Every time you fail, you're not losing, you're collecting data. You're learning what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. Think about it. The people who make it, really make it, aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail over and over and refuse to let it define them. They don't see failure as a stop sign. They see it as a detour, a redirection, a lesson. And because of that, they keep going when others quit. They adjust when others give up. They learn when others complain. Most people are terrified of failure because they think it means something is wrong with them. But that's not how it works. Failure is just feedback. It's not personal. It's not permanent. It's just information. When a scientist runs an experiment and it doesn't work, they don't take it as proof they're a bad scientist. They take it as proof that one particular approach didn't work, and now they know what to try next. That's how you should see failure too. Not as a judgment, but as a teacher. The fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. It's the fear that keeps people stuck in jobs they hate, in relationships that drain them, in lives that feel too small. They don't take risks because they're afraid of what might go wrong. But here's the thing. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. You're not pushing far enough. You're playing it safe, and safe is where dreams go to die. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't fearless. They just refuse to let fear make their decision. They know that failure is part of the process, not something to avoid, but something to expect, to learn from, to use. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every success story is built on a pile of failures. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's persistence. It's the willingness to fail, get up, and try again. So the next time you fail, and you will, don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't let it convince you that you're not good enough. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Then take that lesson and move forward. Because failure isn't the end. It's just the beginning of your next try. Your thoughts are your biggest enemy, or your greatest weapon. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. And like any tool, it can build you up or tear you down, depending on how you use it. Most people don't realize this. They let their thoughts run wild, unchecked, like a car with no brakes speeding toward a cliff. They don't realize that their thoughts shape their reality. What you focus on expands. What you believe becomes true for you. Think about how many times you've talked yourself out of something before you even tried. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? Those thoughts aren't facts. They're just stories you tell yourself. And the more you repeat them, the more real they become. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's true and what you keep telling it. If you feed it doubt, it will give you hesitation. If you feed it confidence, it will give you courage. The people who succeed aren't the ones with no negative thought. They're the ones who don't let those thoughts control them. They recognize fear, doubt, and insecurity for what they are. Just thoughts, not commands. And then they choose better ones. They replace I can't with I will. They replace what if I fail with what if I succeed. They don't wait for their thoughts to magically become positive. They take control of them. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about refusing to let your mind sabotage you. It's about realizing that thoughts are just thoughts. They only have power if you give it to them. The moment you start questioning your doubts instead of believing them, everything changes. The mind is like a garden. If you don't plant anything, weeds will grow. If you don't choose your thoughts, fear and doubt will take over. But if you deliberately plant seeds of belief, of courage, of focus, those will grow instead. And whatever grows is what shapes your life. Most people let their minds control them. The ones who succeed, they learn to control their minds. They don't wait for motivation. They create it. They don't hope for confidence. They build it. They understand that thoughts are not facts. They're choices. And the more you choose thoughts that serve you, the more power you have over your life. So the next time your mind tries to tell you that you can't do something, ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, replace it, because your thoughts are not your master. They're your servant. And it's time you started treating them that way. The invisible force that stops most people. There's something holding you back right now. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But you can feel it every time you're about to take that important step forward. It's not your lack of skill. It's not your circumstances. It's something far more powerful, your own untrained mind. Fear, doubt, laziness. These aren't separate things. They're all symptoms of the same root problem. A mind that hasn't learned how to push through discomfort. Most people think these feelings mean they should stop. That's why most people never get where they want to go. But here's the truth. Discomfort isn't a stop sign. It's a sign you're growing. Think about the last time you hesitated to do something important. That feeling in your gut, that voice saying, maybe later. That's the invisible force at work. It's not there to protect you. It's there to keep you small, safe, and stuck. Because your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. It will always choose what's familiar over what's better. But here's what they don't tell you. The moment you learn to act despite fear, everything changes. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to wait until the fear goes away. The most successful people aren't fearless. They've just learned to move forward while carrying that fear with them. This is why discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you going when every cell in your body wants to quit. And discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one small act of courage at a time. The invisible force loses its power the moment you realize it's just a feeling. It can't actually stop you. Only you can stop you. Every time you push through resistance, you weaken its hold over you. Start small. Do it now, not when you feel like it. That's the secret. Action comes first. The feeling comes after. The 5-second rule that changes everything. Here's a simple truth that will change how you make decisions. Hesitation is the enemy of action. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. That's why you need the 5-second rule, not the one about dropped food. This one's more powerful. When you feel that moment of hesitation, when you know you should do something but your brain starts coming up with excuses, that's when you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. No thinking, no debating, just action. It works because it bypasses your brain's natural resistance to change. Your mind is designed to keep you safe, not happy. That's why it resists anything new or uncomfortable. But here's the problem. Everything worth doing feels uncomfortable at first. Public speaking, starting a business, asking someone out. Your brain will always come up with reasons to wait. The 5-second rule cuts through all that. This isn't just some motivational trick. It's neuroscience. When you hesitate, your brain starts building resistance. The longer you wait, the stronger that resistance becomes. But when you act within 5 seconds, you short-circuit that process. You don't give fear time to talk you out of it. Think about the last time you procrastinated on something important. That wasn't laziness. That was your brain protecting you from discomfort. The 5-second rule prevents that. It creates a window where action is possible before resistance sets in. The best part, it works for everything. Getting out of bed when you don't want to, starting that project you've been putting off, having that difficult conversation. The rule stays the same. 5 seconds to decide, then move. No second guessing, no overthinking. This is how you build momentum in your life. Small, decisive actions compound over time. Each time you use the 5-second rule, you strengthen your ability to act despite fear. You prove to yourself that discomfort won't kill you. In fact, it's often the path to what you really want. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action despite fear. And the 5-second rule is how you make that action automatic. So next time you feel that hesitation, don't think, count, and move. Your future self will thank you. Why most people never reach their potential. Most people die with their music still inside them. They had dreams, they had ideas, they had potential, but they never turned it into reality. Why? Because they were waiting. Waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to believe in them first. Here's the hard truth. Success doesn't ask for permission, it takes it. Look around you. The people who are actually living their dreams, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders, they didn't wait for someone to tell them they could do it. They didn't wait until everything was perfect. They started where they were with what they had because they understood one fundamental truth. No one is coming to give you permission to live your life. That authority rests with you alone. Think about how many times you've held yourself back because you were waiting. Waiting until you had more money. Waiting until you had more experience. Waiting until you felt ready. Here's the secret. You'll never feel ready. There will always be reasons to wait. But the people who make it aren't the ones without doubts. They're the ones who move forward despite them. Your potential isn't some fixed thing you're born with. It's something you build through action. Every time you take a step forward, even a small one, you expand what's possible. Every time you wait for perfect conditions, you shrink your possibilities. The world doesn't reward people with the most potential. It rewards people who take that potential and do something with it. The permission you're waiting for, it was inside you all along. The right time, it's now. The belief you need, it comes from doing the work, not before it. Stop waiting for external validation to start living the life you want. The only validation that matters is the kind you give yourself by taking action. The one thing you must do when you want to quit. Every single person who's ever done anything worthwhile has faced this moment. The moment when quitting seems like the only option. When the pain of continuing outweighs the hope of succeeding. Here's what separates those who push through from those who give up. They do one simple thing. They stop. They breathe, and they ask, what's the lesson here? Setbacks aren't signs that you should quit. They're signs that you need to adjust, that you need to learn something, that you're being prepared for something greater. Every successful person you admire has a string of failures behind them. Failures that taught them exactly what they needed to know to eventually succeed. When you feel like quitting, that's not the time to make permanent decisions. That's the time to pause, to reflect, to ask yourself what this experience is trying to teach you. Because here's the truth. Every setback contains within it the seed of your next breakthrough. If you're willing to look for it. Most people quit right before their breakthrough. They mistake a temporary failure for a permanent condition. They don't realize that the obstacles aren't blocking their path, they are the path. Each challenge is preparing you for what comes next. Each failure is teaching you what you need to know. Each setback is strengthening you for the success that's coming. The next time you want to quit, don't make any sudden moves. Stop, breathe, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Then use that answer to adjust your approach, not abandon it, because the difference between failure and success often comes down to one more try. The try you make after you wanted to quit. Remember, every great comeback story starts with someone who could have quit but didn't. Your story isn't over until you decide it is. And if you're still breathing, you still have more chapters to write. How to turn obstacles into opportunities. There's a fundamental truth about obstacles that most people miss. They're not blocking your path, they are the path. Every single challenge, setback, or roadblock you encounter isn't just something to endure. It's something to use. The difference between those who crumble under pressure and those who rise because of it isn't luck or talent, it's perspective. The problem was never the obstacle itself. The problem is how you see it. Think about the last time you hit a wall. Maybe it was a rejection, a failure, or an unexpected setback. In that moment, you had a choice. See it as a dead end or as a detour. Most people choose the first option. They take obstacles personally, as if the universe is punishing them. But the ones who succeed, They see obstacles as information. They ask, what is this teaching me? How can I use this? That shift alone from why is this happening to me to what is this revealing to me changes everything. Obstacles expose your weaknesses, and that's a gift. If you never faced resistance, you'd never know where you needed to grow. A boxer doesn't get stronger by punching the air. He gets stronger by hitting something that hits back. Your obstacles are the same. They reveal where you're still fragile, where your skills are lacking, where your mindset needs work. And once you know that, you can improve. But it goes deeper than that. Obstacles also force creativity. When the easy path is blocked, you're pushed to find another way, often a better one. Some of the greatest innovations in history came from people who had no other choice but to think differently. No resources, they got resourceful. No opportunities, they created them. The obstacle didn't stop them, it directed them. So the next time you hit a wall, don't just stare at it, study it. What's it showing you? Where do you need to adapt? What new approach could you take? Because obstacles aren't just tests, they're invitations. Invitations to grow, to innovate, to prove to yourself what you're really capable of. And once you start seeing them that way, you'll realize the obstacles were never holding you back. They were pushing you forward, the daily habit that separates winners from everyone else. Motivation is a myth, at least the way most people think about it is. They believe action comes after motivation, that one day they'll wake up feeling inspired, energized, ready to conquer the world. But that's backward. The people who actually achieve things don't wait for motivation. They don't rely on it. They build something far more powerful. Discipline. Small, consistent actions every single day, regardless of how they feel. Here's the truth. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't need to feel pumped to get started. You just need to start. The energy, the drive, the momentum, it all comes after you take the first step. Winners know this. That's why they don't wait for inspiration. They don't wait for the right mood. They show up day after day, even when it's hard, even when they don't feel like it, because they understand that discipline is what creates results, not fleeting bursts of motivation. This is why consistency is the ultimate superpower. It's not about grand gestures or heroic efforts. It's about the small, seemingly insignificant actions you repeat daily. Writing 500 words, practicing a skill for 30 minutes, making one extra call. These things don't look impressive in the moment, but over time, they compound, they build, they turn into something unstoppable. The magic happens in the mundane, the days when no one is watching, the moments when you could skip cut corners or give yourself a pass, but you don't. That's where the separation happens. Because while everyone else is waiting to feel motivated, you're putting in the work. And over time, that work adds up. It becomes skill. It becomes confidence. It becomes success. So forget motivation. It's unreliable. Build discipline instead. Make your actions non-negotiable. Not I'll do it if I feel like it, but I'll do it because I said I would. Because discipline isn't just a habit, it's a form of self-respect. It's you proving to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through. And once you have that, you don't need motivation. You've got something better. Momentum. The lie you've been told about luck. People love to talk about luck. They point to successful individuals and whisper, they just got lucky. It's a comforting thought that success is simply a matter of being in the right place at the right time. But here's the truth they don't tell you. Luck isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create through relentless preparation. Think about it this way. When an overnight success finally gets their big break, what you're not seeing are the years of unseen work that came before. The late nights, the failed attempts, the skills honed when no one was watching. That's not luck. That's preparation laying the groundwork for opportunity. The world is full of opportunities every single day, but only those who are prepared can recognize them and take advantage. The harder you work, the luckier you become. It's not magic. It's mathematics. If you make 100 pitches instead of 10, your luck in getting a yes increases dramatically. If you study your craft daily instead of occasionally, your luck in performing well when it counts goes up exponentially. Luck favors the persistent because persistence increases the number of opportunities you encounter and improves your ability to capitalize on them. There's a reason why the same people seem to get lucky over and over again. It's not coincidence. It's because they've put themselves in position to succeed repeatedly. They've developed the skills to turn chance encounters into valuable connections. They've built the resilience to keep going after rejection. They've created systems that make the most of every opportunity. Stop waiting for luck to find you. Start creating your own. Work so hard that when opportunity finally appears, you're ready to seize it. Prepare so thoroughly that what looks like luck to others is simply the inevitable result of your effort. Because in the end, the only real luck is the kind you make for yourself through consistent, determined action. The only real failure is giving up. Failure is not what you think it is. Losing a battle isn't failure. Missing a goal isn't failure. Falling short isn't failure. The only true failure is when you decide to stop trying. Everything else is just data, information you can use to come back stronger. History is filled with stories of people who faced devastating setbacks before achieving greatness. What made them different wasn't that they never failed, it was that they refused to accept failure as final. They understood that every no brings you closer to a yes, every defeat teaches you what you need to succeed next time, and every ending can be the start of a better beginning. When you're in the middle of the struggle, it's easy to confuse a single loss with final defeat. But the truth is, you're only defeated when you say you are. As long as you're willing to get back up, to try again, to learn and adjust, you're still in the game. The most successful people aren't those who never get knocked down. They're the ones who get up one more time than they fall. Think about how many times you've quit something just before you might have broken through. How many opportunities were lost because you stopped too soon. The difference between success and failure often comes down to simple persistence. The willingness to keep going when every fiber of your being wants to quit. Every great achievement is actually a series of comebacks. Every champion has a history of defeats they refuse to accept as final. Your current circumstances don't define you. Your response to them does. So when you feel like giving up, remember, you're closer than you think. The breakthrough might be just one more attempt away. Success isn't about never failing. It's about failing forward, using each setback as fuel for your next attempt. The only way you can truly lose is if you decide the game is over. As long as you're still in the arena, still trying, still learning, still growing, you're winning. Because the only real failure is giving up on yourself. Life will test you. That's not the question. The question is, how will you respond? Will you crumble or will you rise? The choice is yours, and the time to make it is now.